Okay, all right. Yo, what's up? What's happening, everybody? Hope you guys are had an amazing weekend. Obviously, the markets are open now, and we're going to quickly mark out levels for the week ahead. Okay, so we're going to have predetermined levels and areas that we would like for price to come back into, go up into, for either long and short opportunities. We're going to look at both biases across the markets that we're going to have a look at today. I want to dive straight into it. Obviously, we're going to have a look at US 30 and gold. We'll also have a quick look at euro dollar, and if we have enough time, then I will open up Aussie dollar and run a quick analysis on that as well. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look at how last week closed. Okay, so last week here on US 30 we closed very strong. Okay, so I do expect and anticipate some sort of pullback into last week's candle, something similar to this. Okay, a little bit of a pullback, similar to this candle right here. See how the candle comes back into last week's candle, even like this, even something like we've had here. Okay, so you have a strong close and then pull back into this last week's candle, or it's either going to be a continuation. Okay, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, depending on how we're looking here on US 30. I might decide to close this long here. Okay, I will have a quick look as we go down into the low time frames real quick and decide whether I want to kind of close this off or not. Okay, so I mean, immediately looking at the weekly candles and the daily candles, we do want to look for that long opportunity. So what are good levels to kind of look at? We can grab last week's entire candle from the low to high and see kind of what levels we're presented with. So if we just quickly mark out last week's candle from the low to the high, jump into the 4 hourly so that we can break open that candle and have a look at what's happened and how prices unfolded. And so even as we came up to last week's candle, we've trended upwards, creating these higher highs and higher lows, each high low managing to snap an entry in. So we had the high low here, snapped up an entry, and obviously this is well documented. You guys can check out some of the previous videos as to why and how I got into these trades. I initially was just going to keep this one running, but because we've been presented with these opportunities, I thought, why not, we take them. Then we went on to retrace up here, where we had a whole bunch of volatility down the lower time frames. Still managed to snap up an entry, and we're on our way to target 2. So I actually want to kind of quickly set a TP here, okay, just in case. I do want to kind of, especially if we get up to these highs, I do want to kind of take profit off this long that I'm on. And so looking into next week, I mean, we've just opened, so we're literally like smashing through these highs here. Let's drop into the hourly and we can decide. So there's 2 ways we're going to go about doing this. Okay, let me quickly grab my pen here. Okay, so in terms of longs, okay, we can look at yesterday's low, Friday's lows, okay, and just follow the market as it climbs. Follow the market as it climbs. If it continues going higher, we'll just follow it here on the hourly. Okay, as if we're measuring the daily candle. So let's quickly grab this this high right here, okay, and we'll follow it. Okay, and I've explained this before in terms of just following the market. I think we did it along here. Okay, I think we did it along here, where as market's just rallying, we'll follow it until we get the pullback and just wait and be patient. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be looking out for tomorrow, essentially a pullback into yesterday, the candle itself, or including yesterday's candles. Okay, so the candle itself would be here, but I'll tell you, this is going to be really aggressive, to be honest. So we'll grab yesterday's candle and we'll wait. Okay, if we're like really strong and we're rallying up even higher, I might even include last week's entire candle. Okay, but it is looking strong here on the daily, on the 4 hourly, especially on the daily, looking like some sort of a continuation for just for now, the immediate upcoming days. I'll just follow the daily. Okay, and depending on how we're moving and whether we have significant sell-offs, if we do have significant sell-offs, okay, strong weak, closes and weak candles were closing below previous days, then I will look for that sell-off and then that retracement. Okay, retracement up, back up into levels where we've dropped from. And a perfect example would be what's happened here. So if we have a significant sell-off, okay, I'll wait for price to come up before I start looking for shorts. Okay, so nothing apparent immediately right now in terms of short opportunities. I mean, before this high happened, I was looking at the market as it was coming close to its closing last week, and I was looking at the market like this, and maybe we might get a potential sell opportunity along here. Obviously it's early days and markets open, so this short is no longer valid. Okay, we have to wait for another sell-off before we can start looking to fib and start measuring. Okay, so that's Dow. That's the Dow. We've got shorts and longs. So immediately it's the, you know, grabbing yesterday's lows and today's highs and continuing to follow it until it turns around. I actually did manage to scalp an entry here as well when we had that sell-off. As soon as the sell-off happened, I was there ready waiting for it, because all of this stuff happened really quickly. I was here waiting for any opportunities, and we did manage to get a nice opportunity here. Took profit on this and followed it. This I kind of last week and the week before played traded Dow Jones really nicely. Really happy with the way that I've approached it and traded and kind of followed this trend. It's not always you get this strong trend, and in fact this is one of the fastest recoveries we've ever had. So snapping those retracements, and the higher we go, the more aggressive it's just going to be, because you know we do expect markets to not to just shoot straight up forever. This is not going to last forever. It's not going to go up forever. There's going to be times where it's going to come down and pull back and make even significant pullbacks back into the previous month. Okay, because the month's going to close on Tuesday. We're going to have a monthly candle close, and if this month closes strong, then you know definitely expect a pullback into last month's candle. And as we can be able to see here on the daily, price moved up, so any pullback into last month's candle, you know, by the time tomorrow at the end of the day, I should be out of all three of these positions, and if anything, maybe at least 2 positions, and keep this one, maybe even take a little bit of profit and keep it running, because I want to get prepared for the month ahead. Because remember, price likes to kind of pull back into previous candles, and so we'll have a monthly candle, and so price is likely to pull back into last month's candle, similar to what's happened here. You know how we closed really strong monthly close. Okay, from here to here is this entire section right here within the period separators is one monthly candle. So here this month we closed really strong, and what happened as the following month opened is we just continued rallying. Okay, so this something that could possibly happen, right? And even as it continued rallying, it's not something that we should chase. We should always anticipate a pullback into the candle itself. Okay, so the monthly candle itself. So this is the open, and this was the high, and then coming up towards halfway of the month, we retrace down into breaking the month's low, which happens to be, you know, dipping into the previous month's candle, and right along here would have been perfect opportunities to have bought. And I might have, can't remember, but I might have maybe got in along here. Definitely got in along here, and obviously, as you can see, I've been doing the same thing since since COVID. You know, looking for. I remember waiting for here, price didn't come deep enough. Waited here, price didn't come deep enough, and I think I managed to get an entry along here, taking this breakout, and it's all along here. Didn't quite manage to. I know I started looking short along here, but didn't quite manage to get decent opportunities up until around here. Okay, so anyways, rambling on here. Those are the levels, really quick, straight to the point and simple. Just yesterday's price, okay, and we'll follow the rally until we get significant sell-offs. We're not gonna look to sell immediately, and even when we do and we start smashing these lows, if we start breaking these lows, then we'll adjust our fib and include last week's entire candle, okay, to go long. Okay, okay, all right, so let's quickly have a look at gold. All right, let's see where it's fibbed from. Okay, all right, so some of the shorts still stand. We've closed kind of strong here. Let's look at last week here real quick. You know, we're still within, you know, the highs and the lows of these 2 candles here. So you know, any pullback up into these highs, we're gonna want to go down to 4 hourly, look for some decent price action before we even consider shorting here. One of the analysis that I mentioned in last week's video is looking for shorts along here. I don't think we would have been able to catch this happened so quick. And one of the things that we also looked out for is, as price went up, wait for the retracement for possible longs. I did get in long here a little bit late. Price closed up here. I'm thinking we might get another little retracement. It didn't happen. Closed off the trade in a small amounts of profit. Didn't manage to go long here on gold. So now for the week ahead, any retracement back into last week's candle. Let's have a quick look at how last week's candle closed real quick. Here, so strong bullish candle. Okay, it's not as strong, okay, compared to the candles, just couple of candles before it, okay, but there is enough strength in there considering what's happening, and considering price action. We can look for pullbacks into last week's candle, and so that would look something like this, where we grab last week's low to last week's high. We haven't quite broken it, and if we continue, you know, climbing a little bit higher, we'll just follow it, because this is just based on one weekly candle. Any pullback into last week, we do want to look for opportunities to go long, and any price action of 1993 area zone, we do want to look for shorts. Okay, so that's gold. Might even just quickly point out some arrows here real quick so that we're clear. Yeah, any pullback into our entry area, we want to look to go long. That's long here, and if we get rid of that, any pullback up into this entry based on 2 weeks ago, okay, so like 1, 2, 3, so 3 weeks, the highs and the lows of the week before last week would be the measurement here that we're looking at, and any pullback up into these highs followed by price action. Ideally we want to see some rejection off of the level, so we want to see price come up, reject it, pull back, and then hopefully look for some shorts, and hopefully we can look for shorts whilst we're even long. Okay, so if we can get a pullback first whilst we're long, and then look for shorts, that would be nice. That way you can kind of hedge the position and lock in some profits. Okay, all right, that's gold. Let's have a quick look at Aussie dollar, okay, weekly. All right, so as you can see, we have these levels marked out. Sorry. One of the things that I'm looking at is a possible continuation. Okay, a possible continuation up until these highs. Okay, which is quite a distance away, but we'll mark that out in anticipation for possible longs. Okay, now longs, if I was to grab last week's candle, I need to, because last week's candle is within a previous candle, I kind of need to find a trend within these candles. I need to find an appropriate trend, appropriate low to fib, so that I can, you know, because it's looking like a ranging market. In fact, let's quickly have a look at the 4-hourly time frame. Zoom out. Okay, so we can grab, let's see what appropriate, because it's a range, it's not the strongest of trends. Okay, okay, this will be optimal level to go long from. Okay, if we are to go looking for longs, okay, this will be optimal levels to go long from, right along here. So let's just mark this out. Okay, now if we don't get to these long, considering how strong we're looking and how it's looking like we might just be rallying up, we can go into the hourly and look at just yesterday's price, okay, and just measure yesterday's price to today's high, okay, and then wait for a pullback. These are two levels that we're looking at. We can wait for a pullback into just yesterday's price for a continuation to the upside. Okay, and obviously down here we'll have to break these lows before we could even get down here. So before we get down here, any price action here, look strong long tail candles, we can look to take the opportunity for longs. Okay, just the 78.2 second entry level actually looks pretty nice and decent, and so does the 61.8 first entry for longs. It looks pretty decent, but this is what we're looking for longs in terms of euro dollar. And then if we zoom out for a higher time frame analysis, just in case we start breaking these lows, we can grab the range low, or even last week low. Let's have a look at how last week's low looks. if we did grab last week's low, okay, to this week's high, and just followed the price for retracing back into last week, then it's not too far off from, you know, it's not too far off from the 78.6, which is you know, happens to be 61.8 of if we fibbed last week's entire candle as opposed to just the last day of the week's candle. Okay, just every time I'm fibbing, just understand that when we go out into the higher time frame, essentially it's just one candle that we've measured. Okay, so if I was to do just grab yesterday's low, although it's not an entire weekly candle, it is an entire daily's candle, low to high. Okay, and if we, as we come down to these lows and we don't get the price action, then we'll just adjust it, and then we'll include last week's low, which is the low of last week's candle, which happens to be, I'll get rid of this one so that you can be clear on what I'm saying here. Okay, which happens to be last week's low. Okay, sorry, last week's low happens to be a daily low as well. Okay, which is 1, 2, and including today's 3 candles, a pullback into this area. Okay, into, basically we just want to look for price to come into yesterday's price. Okay, which if we come all the way down in towards yesterday without breaking the lows, it's still within last week's high and low territory. And considering the month's going to close, you know, I forget this, okay, but it's the 31st today, so ideally we should be actually fibbing this entire month's candle in preparation for the month ahead. Okay, so there's 3, you just notice, okay, I've done 3 things. Okay, I fib from the low to the high of the daily candle in anticipation for price to come back into yesterday's price, and for the optimal entry we want price to come as low as we can into yesterday, followed by price action, which will be which is a great observation place, okay, time frame for a daily candle. So if we've just measured one daily candle, the best place to observe price action, long price action opportunities, is down on the hourly. So we're looking at from here to here, okay, or as high as it goes. So these 2 turning points, okay, these 2 turning points, all right, if it is to turn around from here, whenever it starts turning around from here, any pullback, okay, we want to look for longs, because this is 1 day. From here to here is just 1 day. If we include today's 2 days, 1 candle on the higher time frame or 2 candles on the higher time frame, and we want a pullback into the previous candle, regardless of whether it's a day or a week. Okay, we want to pull back into the previous candle, and on the hourly, I would say, is where we should look for price action. Okay, remember this: daily candle is measured, so high time frame measured candle, which in this case is the daily, and then 1 hourly 30-minute time frame for price action to go long. Okay, now if we come down and we start breaching, okay, these lows, right, we can adjust our fib to include last week's low and then this week's high or last week's high. Okay, in this case we've created a new high for this week, it's higher than the last week's high, and we'll adjust our fib, and then this time round we're going to be looking at the levels based on once we include last week's candle, and then we'll do the same thing. I'd say the best time frame for this observation, skip quickly rid of this, the best time frame to go long based on this observation will be around the 4 hourly. So any 4 hourly, 1 hourly price action into yesterday, we can look for longs. Okay, and good opportunities to look for longs. All right, so and then so that's 2, and then the third one is the monthly, okay, which is a little bit more appealing considering that the month's going to close very soon. So any pullback into last month's candle, especially if we start breaching those lows of the weeks, the weekly, as we come down into those weekly weekly territory, we want to look for longs again. So as price comes down into these levels, I'll definitely be updating you guys in terms of the trades that I'll be looking to take. Okay, all right, so I think we can quickly just cover euro dollar. Oh sorry, we need to look for shorts. Okay, so let's quickly get rid of everything and mark out for shorts. Okay, now last week, the week before last week, was an interesting candle. One of the things that I was looking for is for price to come up and give us an opportunity to short. Okay, so we fibbed last week's high to last week's low. Okay, and now we're waiting. So along here it's looking pretty strong. Okay, it's looking really strong, especially this false. Look at this, price went all the way up into the zone and dropped straight back down. I can imagine a lot of people selling. Okay, a lot of people selling. I'd say around about 4 hourly, 1 hourly. This candle is actually looking pretty decent, okay, for a short opportunity. If we close like this, okay, and then we start getting tailed candles, it might actually be a good opportunity to short. But I'd say it's much more appropriate to take the trades off based on 4 hourly price action. Okay, something similar to what's happened here. You see, start seeing candles like this. Okay, wait for the pullback into that candle, when especially around here. If you start seeing candles like that, wait for the pullback. Okay, and we can start seeing it here on the hourly. So if we get some nice weak closes, let it come down, wait for it to pull back up, and we can look to short based on price action. Okay, so that's short on euro dollar. All right, Aussie dollar, last week's candle pretty strong. Okay, it might be just because if we look at this one candle, okay, let's see if we can find something similar in the past. Okay, here, right here. Okay, look at this candle, and then look at this candle, very similar. So what can we expect? We can expect something like this. So just to pull back, not so deep into the candle, just at the tip of the candle. Okay, the following week's candle could potentially, this week's candle could potentially just dip in a little bit, and we want to prepare for that. We'll see if we can see an opportunity like that based on the daily, where prices like to dip into a little bit, and see if there's an opportunity to go long. Okay, so that's an example. There's another one where this candle is pretty strong. These candles are pretty strong. Look how it just opens with no retracement. It just opens and starts flying. Okay, and then you have strong candles like this where it can dip really deep into it. Okay, really deep into the previous candle. Okay, you could also have candles like this. Look at this, how where it's really strong, similar to what we're looking at, and the candle shoots up and above that candle and closes weak. That's where, depending on the highs of these candles, if there's any significant sell-off on the 4 hourly, we could even look to sell euro dollar, Aussie dollar. Okay, and so definitely keep an eye out on this level here, where price can shoot up into that level. Okay, 75.75, 0.7575. Look at keep an eye on this level. If price shoots up into this level and you're not long or anything, definitely keep an eye out for possible short opportunities right off this level. In terms of longs, okay, we go down into, if you've measured a weekly candle, okay, if you've measured a weekly candle, then 4 hourly time frame is an appropriate time frame to go down into to look for opportunities. So let's go ahead and actually measure last week's candle and mark out these levels. Okay, 72.40. Okay, an nice decent number, appropriate level, nice, you know, support and resistance level here as well. It happens to be a nice decent support and resistance level. We do want to look kind of so next week, any pullback into this level, it's not looking like it's going to come into this level. We're going to actually go down into look at the daily candle and then go into the hourly, see if we can see something up here. But on the 4 hourly, if we don't kind of respect the lower time frame levels, then kind of zoom out, stick to the 4 hourly time frame. In fact, we should also include a monthly. Let's just quickly do that. Monthly lows would be all the way down here, which, if you see that, it actually lines up the 50 level of the 50 candle of the 50 level of this month's entire candle happens to line up with the 61.8 level of last week's candle. Okay, these are just, you know, little, it gives the zone some significance. Okay, makes it, instead of just one line, it turns into a little zone. Okay, so as we come down into this level based on last week's candle, okay, you could where's last week's low? Last week's low right here. Okay, as it comes down into last week's low, that dips into last week's 61.8 levels first entry, we could adjust the candle to incorporate the entire month's price. Okay, and still watch the same level, because it's pretty much in the same level, you know, same area. So watch the level, it gives it some more significant. Okay, that's the monthly. Weekly, let's come into the hourly real quick, and let's just have a look at just yesterday's candle for opportunities to go long. To be honest, I'm not even going to look at these pairs, euro dollar. I'm just marking them out for you guys. I'm just going to stick with Dow and gold. But hey, you know, if I see it, I might just take the opportunity. Okay, so here's price if it's just come back into yesterday's candle, because yesterday's candle is a decent, strong, really strong candle. Okay, and it's so strong that it might not even make it to the 61.8. okay, daily candle fib, best time to observe it, hourly. So it might just be one of those types of opportunities where it just literally kisses the level and ducks and just shoots up. Okay, either the 61.8 or the 50 level. Okay, ideally we want to wait for price action to occur at these levels before we go ahead and take them. Okay, so that's it. I know I've dragged it on a little longer than I've wanted to, but I'm working on it. I hope this is all making sense. Short, like I said, we're not looking for shorts until we go up to around about 0.75 and or unless we have some significant sell-off and weak daily candle closes, we'll reevaluate. This candle is looking pretty weak as well, but it's in the middle of nowhere, to be honest, so I don't really want to short that, short this immediately. It'll be too aggressive. So that's it. Okay, Dow Jones, gold, euro dollar, Aussie dollar. Let me know what you guys think in terms of the opportunities. Let me know if you guys take them, how you get on, and I'll be sure to keep you guys posted, updated throughout the week on the stories. And that's it from me. I'm gonna cut it, go sleep, and see what happens in the morning. All right, okay, that's it from me. Bye for now.